Connectors on cartridges are very sensitive, and can be corroded easily by yelling at the character on screen whenever they died from enemies or level hazards. You can always tell just how much the main character died in any particular cartridge by how grody the connectors are. True facts, man.
Oh, hey there, friend. Come on in, why don't you? Welcome to the kitchen. Honey, our guest is here. Oh, hey, can I get you something, a drink, perhaps? Why don't you come on and have a seat over here?
We're so glad you could make it. We've got a classic for you today. Ben's been able to taste it himself, and we believe we've been able to simmer it down to just the base elements. The recipe for today's game comes from a time just after the pioneers of home consoles were well established, and, much like our favorite food, probably comes from Japan.
Oh, I do love me some sushi. But this game, surrounded by dishes full of that wonderful umami flavor, stuck out like a plate of fish and chips at a Japanese hibachi grill. That's right, today we're talking about the much favored Donkey Kong Country for the Super Nintendo.
Now, I'm sure you've gathered by now, but just in case, this video has spoilers, and we are not in the business of ruining appetites before you can try it yourself. So let this be your heads up.
Okay, I think that's enough chatter. Let's dig in.
Ah, Donkey Kong. In a time of Mario, Sonic, and Barney's hide-and-seek games, the Kong himself stood out to shake down all we knew about 2D side-scrollers. The intro scene is an excellent metaphor for everything the game was about to be for a new player. A little taste of the classic formula, and then throwing a little more rhythm their way and changing it up. Move over, Grandpa. It's our time now. And the developers of DKC are in no way strangers to changing things up, having been the minds behind the notoriously difficult Battletoads game for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
But considering their past, Rare did an excellent job of keeping the barrier of entry low enough for anybody to start playing and enjoying. You play as Donkey Kong, not the temperamental ape from the arcades, but actually his grandson. The controls are simple enough to harken back to the beginnings of gaming. You got a button to jump, and another one to attack. There's a saying among game designers, there are only two reasons to make a video game, because it's new and hasn't been made yet, or you can make it better. The developers at Rare saw an ape-shaped hole in the platformer business and filled it. They took the classic platformer formula and added their own special flavor of guidance, support, difficulty, and fun.
And in case you're wondering, yes, it is banana flavored. Star Wipe.
Donkey Kong Country has an interesting level of interactivity rarely seen in games of its time. Games like Super Mario World already tackled the separated course and world map style of level connectivity, but it was all just that, separated. Each level was self-contained, static, and predictable, in a good way. If Super Mario World was reliable, then Donkey Kong Country is living and breathing. Each level feels alive, with the special 2.5D graphics, the amazing soundtrack by David Wise, Evelyn Novakovic, and Robin Beanland, and the atmospheric changes level by level. Mario didn't throw rain at you halfway through a level to set the mood, or ride on minecarts. Just saying. And each level felt connected to each other. The game really feels like Donkey Kong is on a journey, not just going through levels. The beginnings and ends of caves look like they're set in a mountain or cliff face. That factory on the world map has an inside to it, and that pirate ship in the background? Just you wait, buddy. Rare looked at that saying we mentioned earlier and took the latter route. They saw that the platformer has been made, yes, but they can make it better.
So they start by immediately giving the players a call to action. A bunch of reptilian hooligans have stolen DK's bananas. However, they left a banana trail, much like a crocodilian Hansel and Gretel, and dropped a few bananas on their way out. If you follow the bananas, you'll find your way through the level the right way, and when you get 100 of them, much like Grandpa's mustachioed rival, you get an extra life. In the first 10 seconds of gameplay, Rare has created a problem, given the players a hint on how to progress, and rewarded them when they're on the right path in a really great feedback loop designed to keep them hungry for more. The good folks at Rare also saw an opportunity missed by many developers of their day. While the people at Capcom or Konami might have tossed a few lives to their players to keep them satisfied, many younger siblings still got the short end of the stick when their 2 or 3 lives were over.
Rare, on the other hand, listened to the plight of those who made good friends with the projectiles of an enemy, and ensured that there were several ways to rack up in-game lives before that dreaded game over screen. We've already established the 100 bananas rule, but DK could also collect 4 letters, aptly spelling Kong, hidden throughout the level for another chance at another life. A delicious bone thrown to certain completionists out there. On top of these, there are hidden entrances to different styles of minigames that offer up more lives, and even special collectible statuettes of Donkey's animal companions spread throughout the whole game to offer even more chances. All of this given fresh to the player, a full plate of banana-flavored goodness.
But one would be wise to question the gracious ways of the devs. Just as the ratio of spices in a soup has to be perfect to not overpower it, so does the game need a reason for all of these handouts. Let's go back a second to when we mentioned Rare hearing the distant cries of poor young gamers stuck in a bottomless pit. They definitely threw extra lives down there, sure, but they also were ensuring extra spiky, painful, and straight up unfair challenges were there to balance it out. For all the platforming research they must have done, they definitely allowed a few things to slip through the cracks to make an otherwise enjoyable experience almost frustrating enough to stop a player from wanting to play.
Firstly, Donkey Kong is a big guy, right? Look at him. He's got style, he's got grace, and his face means serious business. So why then does he get toasted by the smallest knock on the head with a coconut, or by barely touching a tiny vulture? The hitboxes on Donkey and Diddy are extra sensitive, and on top of that, you can only ever have 3 health points. Donkey's friends act as the only way to measure health. With Diddy at his side, he can take 2 hits, but you'll have to play as Diddy if Donkey was the one to get hit, because he's afraid of a little claptrap. And with any of his temporary companions, you get an extra health point, but they run off if they get injured. With the other animals, they act a bit like Yoshi in Super Mario World, where you have a chance to find them again if they run off. With either of the Kongs, however, they run away and hide in a barrel, hiding from all the scary rats in the world. Somebody get this Kong a coconut launcher of his own.
With hitboxes bigger than Donkey Kong himself, one would think the developers will allow for some wiggle room and distance between Donkey and his enemies. Maybe just a slight break? But no, instead we get bee after spiky bee, a million tiny fish with hitboxes double their size, and of course, an abandoned minecart position just so after a tricky jump.
Dang it! Dang it! Dang it! Dang it! Dang it! Dang it!
Many obstacles come out of nowhere, and they always manage to have one more trick up their sleeve to signify the end of the level. You see the arrow painted on the sign and believe it's your saving grace and you're home free, but no, one more croctopus in your path to victory.
All of this wouldn't be so bad if there weren't only one checkpoint in each level. Sure, you have access to that extra Kong right out of the barrel, but does it have to be so far away from the hardest jumps in the level?
And speaking of the checkpoint, I'd like to bring up a curious finding of mine. Maybe this was just me, but I collected 3 animal tokens and was treated to a fun minigame. Super awesome to grab bonus lives to help out in harder levels. Often, however, it seemed completing this particular bonus room, and not the regular secret ones, would respawn me back at the beginning of the level or a checkpoint even though I was past that point. This is fine for the most part, but it's totally not fine when you're almost done a level and you grab a bonus and then you get punished for finding the collectibles. It's almost as if games back then were hard for difficulty's sake.
Yeah, right? It's almost as if they padded out games with super hard levels and not a whole lot of lives in order to extend playtime.
But that's a tiny sprig of bitterness in our dish. There's one more excellent flavor that brings it all together. Funky Kong! This totally radical Kong is all that and a bag of chips. He's always there when you need him to hoist your monkey butts anywhere you want to go on the island. The only bummer is, it's only one way, so you'll have to find your way back if you want to go somewhere else. Bodacious! But really, despite the difficulty and the hitboxes too big to be rescued, even by the
Platform of Doom.
Donkey Kong Country has such an excellent level design that it makes you hungry for more each time. I often found myself saying just one more level after each level. Each level is unique, even the ones with similar themes. The caves are never just another test to see how well you can jump over a pit. There's mine carts, darkness, ropes, even some kind of gas-powered treadmill, and that's just the cave levels. Every level has its own unique charm and appeal, and if you don't like one level, chances are there's another one you'll like soon. Like a buffet of great level design. This is the meat of the dish, and really where the folks at Rare shone brightly. Nice job, guys.
Okay, so we've had our fill of that classic recipe. Now let's break it down into its base elements. What?
We saw that they were clever in using bananas to guide players where they needed to go, incentivizing their progress. We also saw that Rare gave us a lot of opportunities to get extra lives.
Turns out we needed those extra lives, because that difficulty is quite steep after the first few levels. And speaking of those levels, there were a few challenges that were downright sadistic. Like that awful spinning wheel with the rat in it. Ugh, I just get digestion thinking about it.
And what was up with the weird respawning after bonuses? If the single checkpoint limit wasn't enough, even if you played one of the animal trophy minigame things, you had to go back to the last checkpoint. Or to the start of the level to keep what you earned.
Right. But those things aside, Rare did an excellent job of making sure that every level was unique and we had a fresh palate cleanser after every super challenging level. Oh, and shout out to that excellent fake out by King K. Rool over there. Very clever. You got me.
Was that clever with a K?
Yep.
Okay, we're done here. That was what we got out of Donkey Kong Country. Please like this video if you liked it, share it, and invite your friends over next time. We'd love to share our recipes with them too.
And if you found anything that we might have missed, please let us know in the comment section below. Until next time, I'm Ben Jones, and that's my wife.
I'm Tori Jones, and that's my husband.
And this has been
The Video Game Cookbook. You know, I didn't really like that game.
But we'll always have Funky Kong.